The city of Rome is burning. Flames rise higher than the temples. The night sky glows red as if the gods themselves had declared war. People scream, rush through the narrow streets, and carry what little they can save. Some cry for help. Others curse a name. That name is Nero. Whispers fly through the crowd. He set the fire. The emperor wanted this. He's building something new. No proof exists. Yet the hatred sticks. Because this emperor had already shown the world, he craved more than rule. He craved immortality. But what if the fire was only the beginning of a larger secret? What if hidden beneath the ashes of the empire, treasures beyond imagination vanished with Nero? This story begins with one man, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, the boy who became Emperor Nero in 54 AD. He was only 16 years old when crowned. At first, he was guided by wise hands, his tutor Seneca, the philosopher, and the Praetorian prefect Burrus. Together, they kept the empire steady. Rome prospered. Nero even lowered taxes. People loved him. For a moment, the young ruler seemed golden. But golden things do not stay pure. Nero's soul was consumed not by duty, but by art, music, and dreams of legend. He wanted to be more than Caesar, more than Augustus. He wanted to be a living god. He played the lyre, performed on stage, and demanded the crowd cheer. To the Senate, this was humiliating. An emperor was not an actor, but Nero was not listening. Then came the night of July 64 AD. The fire broke out in the merchant stalls near the Circus Maximus. It spread fast. Wooden homes collapsed. Wind pushed flames deeper into the heart of Rome. 6 days of fire left the city in ruins. 10 of Rome's 14 districts burned. People looked to their emperor for help, but what they saw instead terrified them. Nero stood on a balcony, dressed in stage costume, singing of Troy's destruction as his own city crumbled. History blames him still. Did Nero order the fire? Or was it an accident, born of chaos? We cannot know. What we do know is what followed. Nero ordered the survivors out of their homes. He claimed the heart of Rome for himself. From the ashes, he began to build his dream. Domus Aurea, the Golden House. It was no palace. It was a kingdom within a city. Gardens stretched for miles. Walls glistened with jewels. Ceilings were coated in gold leaf. Marble halls shimmered with imported ivory, and at its center stood a colossal statue of Nero himself, taller than any temple of the gods. To build this palace, Nero needed wealth, mountains of it. He stripped temples of their offerings. He taxed provinces to breaking point. He seized estates of nobles accused of treason. Every coin he touched went into Domus Aurea. But here lies the mystery. When Nero died in 68 AD, hunted down, abandoned by his guards, he had no time to spend it all. The Golden House was unfinished. The emperor's vaults were filled with unimaginable riches: gold, silver, gems, statues, artworks stolen from Greece, Egypt, and beyond. Yet when the Senate declared him an enemy of Rome, much of that treasure disappeared. The new emperor Vespasian built the Colosseum over Nero's palace grounds to erase his memory. But what about the treasure? Did Vespasian seize it? Did Nero's loyalists hide it before he fell? Or was it carried away in secret, buried under the city that once burned for him? Roman historians speak in fragments. Suetonius wrote of Nero's wild spending. Tacitus hinted that hidden chambers of Domus Aurea were sealed, their contents never recovered. Legends say Nero's fortune was cursed, guarded by shadows of the dead emperor's spirit. Even today, beneath the streets of modern Rome, explorers crawl through dark tunnels once part of the Golden House. They find traces of frescoes, gold dust, and broken statues. But the vaults, the true vaults, remain missing. And here, the question sharpens. Did Nero die leaving behind the greatest lost treasure in Roman history? Because if he did, it has never been found. The fire gave him the chance to build his dream. The dream gave him the chance to gather the empire's riches, and his fall left behind a silence in which legends grow. But legends, like flames, spread fast, and some whispers claim that Nero's gold never left Rome at all, that it lies buried in secret chambers beneath the Colosseum, the monument built to erase him. If true, then every gladiator who fought, every beast who killed, Every Roman who cheered, all stood above the ghost of Nero's treasure. The fire may have burned the city, but the greater fire, the hunger for gold, for immortality, still burns today. Nero is dead. It is the year 68 AD. The last of the Julio-Claudian dynasty lies in a shallow grave outside Rome. The Senate has declared him an enemy of the state. His statues are smashed. His name is cursed. The empire breathes a sigh of relief. But something doesn't add up. When a man like Nero dies, the world expects chaos. His Domus Aurea, the Golden House, still stands, filled with art, silver, and jewels. His estates are said to hold thousands of talents of gold. Even the temples of Greece and Asia have been emptied for his hunger. By all accounts, Rome should have inherited the fortune of an emperor. And yet, when his enemies opened his vaults, much of it was gone. Where did it go? The official story is simple. Vespasian, who became emperor just a year later, confiscated Nero's treasures and poured them into rebuilding Rome. The Colosseum rose on the very ground of the Golden House. Public works replaced private gardens. Rome's people cheered. The wealth of a tyrant had been returned to the people. But cracks in the story remain. Roman historians mention strange disappearances. Tacitus writes that after Nero's death, looters scoured the palace and the city, yet little treasure was ever found. Suetonius describes secret passageways, hidden chambers beneath the Domus Aurea, sealed before Nero fled. Even Dio Cassius, writing over a century later, admits no one knew the full extent of Nero's hoard. So what happened? Some say Nero's servants and loyal freedmen smuggled out what they could. He was hated by the Senate, yes, but worshipped by the poor. Even after his death, crowds left flowers on his grave. These loyalists may have taken gold and jewels, hiding them in underground vaults until a new Nero returned. Others believe the treasure was stolen during the chaos of Rome's civil war, the year of the four emperors. Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian fought for power. Armies marched across Italy. In that confusion, carts of gold could vanish without record, swallowed by generals, mercenaries, or thieves. But perhaps the strangest story is the most enduring. It claims Nero himself ordered his wealth hidden before his downfall. As rebellion grew, he saw the storm coming. He could not save his crown, but he could protect his gold. Loyal hands buried it deep beneath Rome, in chambers no map has ever revealed. And this is where the myth of Nero Redivivus begins. For decades after his death, false Neros appeared across the empire. Men claimed to be the emperor, returned in secret, waiting for the right time to reclaim power. How could such pretenders inspire armies and followers? Because they promised more than the return of Nero. They promised the return of his treasure. Imagine the power of such a belief. Somewhere in Rome, or beneath her soil, the lost fortune of an emperor awaited the chosen one. And here is the mystery. If Nero's treasure was truly taken by Vespasian, if it was truly spent on amphitheaters and temples, why did the legend of Nero's hidden gold survive for centuries? Why do whispers still suggest that beneath the Colosseum, beneath the hills of Rome, vaults of untouched wealth sleep in silence? Archaeologists exploring the ruins of the Golden House have found evidence of sealed chambers, tunnels filled with earth, walls blocked off in antiquity. Some are too dangerous to enter. Others lead nowhere, as if designed to confuse intruders. Were these escape routes? Or the last defense of Nero's lost fortune? The truth hides in darkness. And perhaps that is where it belongs. Because Nero's treasures were not only coins and jewels. They were also statues of gods stolen from temples, relics taken from sacred places, art looted from Greece and Egypt. To possess them was to hold the anger of nations. To touch them was to invite a curse. And maybe, just maybe, that curse explains what happened next. The Colosseum, the very monument said to stand above Nero's lost vaults, became a place of endless death. Gladiators fell in thousands. Beasts were slaughtered. Innocents died in the name of Roman glory. Was this justice for Nero's greed, or the lingering shadow of a treasure that refused to be claimed? The vanishing of Nero's riches is not a single mystery. It is many. Did his servants hide it? Did the next emperor steal it? Did it sink beneath Rome's soil? waiting for hands brave or foolish enough to uncover it? The empire never answered. And perhaps it never could. But as centuries passed and Rome itself crumbled, one truth remained. The fire that consumed the city was nothing compared to the fire of Nero's legend. His treasure, whether found or lost, became part of that legend. And legends never die. Centuries have passed since the fire, since Nero's fall, since the emperor who thought himself an artist, a god, a master of the world, lay in an unmarked grave. And yet, his name refuses to die. From the ruins of the Domus Aurea to the arches of the Colosseum, Nero's ghost lingers in whispers of treasure still buried beneath Rome. A fortune of unimaginable size. Gold enough to fund empires. Jewels stolen from temples. Art stolen from Greece. Relics stolen from Egypt. A treasure that could change history, if only it were found. But where do you even begin? For centuries, travelers and scholars tried. Medieval chroniclers spoke of tunnels under the Palatine and Esquiline hills, labyrinths filled with sealed doors. In the Renaissance, artists like Raphael and Michelangelo crawled into half-buried chambers of the Golden House, their lanterns flickering on walls painted with strange frescoes. Some believe these were not just halls of pleasure but decoys, designed to lead intruders away from secret vaults. In the 18th and 19th centuries, excavations dug deeper. They found mosaics, fountains, gardens frozen in time. But even then, reports mention bricked-up passages, staircases leading nowhere, doors too dangerous to open. Why would Nero's architects build such things? Unless they were guardians of a secret no emperor dared reveal. And then there is the Colosseum. The greatest arena of Rome, built on the ruins of Nero's palace, on land once covered by his private lake. Vespasian drained that lake and raised the amphitheater as a symbol of Rome's triumph over tyranny. But even here, beneath the arena floor, lie endless tunnels, the hypogeum, a subterranean world of cages, lifts, and traps. Some archaeologists believe parts of these tunnels are older than the Colosseum itself. What if they belonged to Nero's time? What if they connected to hidden chambers, sealed when the Golden House was destroyed? Theories grow darker still. Legends claim that when Nero sensed the end, he commanded his most loyal servants to hide his treasures so completely that not even his enemies could find them. Some say they dug deep beneath the hills. Others believe they lowered them into the Tiber River, sealed in lead chests. A few even whisper of secret crypts beneath temples, places guarded by superstition, where no Roman would dare to dig. But perhaps the strangest clue comes from the stories of false Neros, the men who, for decades after his death, appeared in Greece, in Asia, even as far as Parthia, claiming to be the emperor reborn. Each time, their followers gathered. Each time, hope burned that Nero would return with his hidden wealth to reclaim Rome. Why would men believe such a lie, unless the treasure was real? Unless the world still remembered a fortune unaccounted for, waiting in silence. Even today, modern explorers search. In the 20th century, parts of the Domus Aurea were reopened, revealing frescoes that inspired artists across the world. Engineers scanning beneath the Colosseum have found cavities, anomalies, voids that suggest sealed spaces yet unexplored. Some believe these may hold the lost riches of Nero. But if such chambers exist, why haven't they been opened? Perhaps because history carries its own warnings. The Colosseum itself became a place of endless blood, a monument cursed by the death it demanded. Could that curse trace back to Nero's hoarded spoils, the relics of gods stolen, the treasures of temples desecrated? Perhaps Rome itself understood. Perhaps the emperors who followed Nero feared to touch what he left behind. Perhaps they buried his legacy so deeply not just in earth, but in silence. Because treasure is never just gold. It is memory. It is power. And Nero's treasure carries with it a shadow Rome could not escape. So, does the treasure still lie beneath the Colosseum? Beneath the Domus Aurea? Beneath the hills of Rome? No one can say. But the whispers remain. And maybe that is the true treasure. Not coins. Not jewels. But the story. A story that has survived fire, ruin, and time itself. A story that refuses to end. The story of an emperor's madness, of an empire's silence, of a fortune that might still lie in darkness, waiting for the day the earth gives up its secrets. And until that day comes, the world will always wonder, did Nero's treasure burn with him? Or does it still sleep, buried beneath Rome? The answer is hidden. And perhaps it was meant to stay that way.